All right, Chairman.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The Board of Adjustment is now in session. My name is Anthony Robinson, and I will be chairing today's meeting. Attending today's virtual meeting are board members Mona Parsley, Mel DeSimone, George Hitt, and Joe Klitzing. Also in attendance for the city is Evan Winkler, Community Development Planner for the city, and who will represent the city in the cases we are hearing today. Andrea Gutierrez, Lead Zoning Specialist. Our attorney for the board is Archer Mellon, and our court reporter is Laura Stewart. Today we will be hearing 5 cases. First, we will hear from the city's representative, who will explain why the permit could not be issued. Next, we will hear from the applicant and/or their representative. Then we will hear from those in favor of the appeal, and then from those opposed. Please be concise, as testimony will be limited to 3 minutes per person. When you come online via video or telephone, please wait to be sworn in by the court reporter. Then please state your name and mailing address. To ensure proper records for our court reporter, we ask that those online or on the telephone to please remain on mute. Following testimony on all of today's cases, the board will go into its deliberative portion, of the hearing, at which time we will vote on all cases heard. The board will notify each applicant and/or their representative of its decision by mail in about 2 weeks. You're welcome to remain during our deliberations. However, we will not hear additional testimony at that time. You may also call the lead zoning specialist, Drea, tomorrow at 314-622-3666 to learn the outcome of your appeal. Again, that number is 314-622-3666. Drea, will you please read appeal number 20582?
All right, ready?
Sorry, nope, Dre's needs to read it. We were dealing with some logistics.
Appeal number 20582, 525 Humboldt Avenue, front.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good afternoon, board members. My name is Evan Winkler, Community Development Planner for the City of St. Louis, and I'll be representing the Building Commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to operate a truck and trailer repair shop, no auto sales, no painting, and no bodywork at 525 Humboldt Avenue, front of the parcel. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the said property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. The basis for denial of doing business as on-call service and logistics concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue an occupancy permit, authorizing the petitioner to operate an automobile repair, no bodywork, no painting at 525 Humboldt Avenue in city block number 4205.00 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is K, unrestricted district, and ordinance number 67390, the North Broadway vicinity SUD overlay. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to conserve the values of property throughout the city of St. Louis and protect the character and stability of residential, business, and industrial areas. It's also to regulate and restrict the location and use of buildings, structures, and land for trade, industry, residence, and other uses, and to regulate and restrict the intensity of such uses. The applicable zoning code provisions are ordinance number 67390, section 7F, vehicular related business operations. New or expanded vehicular related business operations proposed within the boundaries of the SUD are prohibited, illegal, non-conforming uses, and the city shall deny applications for such operations. Evidence of lawful nonconformity has not been presented. In summary, the applicant is applying for their occupancy permit to operate a truck repair shop in the underlying K district with the North Broadway vicinity special use district. Per the North Broadway Special Use District, vehicular-related businesses are not permitted use, and therefore a use variance would be required prior to approval. Of note is that on May 21st of this year, the board granted a use variance at the rear portion of this property for a trucking parts service and sales per appeal number 20578 with conditions for a business called Truck Transmission and Engine. The City of St. Louis Planning and Urban Design Agency states that there's no adopted neighborhood plan for this location. The 2025 Strategic Land Use Plan calls this an business industrial development area, which is intended to support new businesses, industrial uses, or campuses ranging from larger business parks to smaller scale development. And then the 2025 Strategic Land Use Plan calls this a core industrial corridor, which is intended to encourage and allow industrial uses. Planning staff therefore finds that the request of appeal number 20582 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Are there any questions for me from the board?
Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Hi, Nadim Musinovic here, owner of On Call Service and Logistics.
Okay, let's get you sworn in.
Swear or
Laura, okay, I'm sorry.
all good. No worries. Mr. Musanovic, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Musanovic, could you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Nadim Musinovic, 525 Humboldt Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63147.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
Hi, nice to see you all. Yes, I just wanted to say in the beginning that we did get Truck Parts and Sales approved, which is a tenant in our yard, and we just wanted to carry on kind of almost as a addition to it for truck repair. At the location 525 Humboldt, the shop has been there, and it's the old Jacobson building from many years ago, and we acquired it, and we want to go ahead and just carry on with truck repair. As far as the area that we're in, it's what I would like to say is where the industrial area lives. Trucks and trailers run up and down the road. Right across the street from us is the fresh warehouse where trucks dock every single day. There's really nothing that we would be obstructing or hurting the area. We would just be a great addition to it and be able to repair trucks and trailers and not have them, have to drive miles and miles away when we would be able to take care of it right there. As far as the area and everything, I don't have much more to say. I think it's very straightforward, and that's about all I have to say about it.
Okay, any board members have any questions?
What would be the hours of operation?
It's regular Monday through Friday. Actually, I'm sorry, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5, regular hours.
How many employees?
There should be 3 employees, and with the option to grow, probably maybe to 5, but that's about it.
And are the two businesses divided separately on the lot? Because Evan said that we had a separate business on the rear of the lot that we already approved.
Correct. The two businesses are separate. The only reason I called it as an addition is because they don't do the repair end of things. We would do the repair end of things, and then they would rebuild stuff. If in fact it's something that would even be, something to do with what they do. They are very restricted to the rebuilding and what they rebuild. So in the case that we would just be helping them and or giving them business, so it would really work real well hand in hand.
Okay, so I don't know that I got my question answered. So is the lot divided by a fence, or is the lot shared, or is there what's the division of the property?
So it's one property, and it's divided by they're on their side of the yard, which I believe they called it the back, and we're on the front side of the yard where the shop is.
Is there a fence?
The entire lot is fully fenced, yes.
Is there a fence in the middle of the front and the back?
No, it's all inside of one yard.
How do you how do you separate what's yours and theirs?
So we're gonna be in the shop that's in the front, and they're gonna be in the building that's in the back. It's
So
two
there's two separate buildings?
it's two different buildings, yes.
How do you share the open lot portion?
So I'm the owner of that entire yard, and they're gonna be the tenant. And we share it as far as like parking. They know the areas that they can enter, and we know the areas that we can enter with our contracts that are in place.
So it's written out who gets what exactly, and you own the whole parcel?
Correct.
And so their lease is written out so they know exactly what they can and cannot use.
Correct.
How long is their lease?
It's currently set for 3 years, or I'm sorry, it's set for 1 year and an option to extend it to 3 years. Sorry.
No problem.
Hey, Mona.
Do you have a commercial dumpster?
We do have multiple dumpsters on the lot that are shared. One's for trash, one's for paper, and one's I believe for like metal, metal where you throw away old metal.
Sure. Okay. I'm sorry, Mel, go ahead.
We have conditions for repair shops. Do we want to maybe have it listen to those also?
Absolutely. Evan,
Yes, we can. I just want to warn the board.
warn us. It's scary.
Well, so like,
Advise.
I'm going to read his conditions that he currently has with the other business. With a shared lot,
That's
it's
what
going to be
that was-
extremely difficult to distinguish between who's the violator of a potential condition. So let me at least read his current conditions, and then if you would still like, I can read the standard conditions for normal repair. But his current conditions are: number one, the petitioner shall provide a commercial dumpster and establish a trash removal contract through a private source for regular pickups and maintain the private premises in a clean and orderly manner. Number two is the petitioner shall keep the existing fence clear of weeds and maintain the property in a clean and orderly manner. Number three is there shall be no cord or rope type LED lighting surrounding or framing windows and doors. And number four, the premises shall not be issued a public nuisance notice pursuant to ordinance number 68535 or its successor ordinances. And then, let's see here. The standards for auto repair are petitioner must obtain the proper permits from the City of St. Louis Building Division for any proposed signage at this location. Number two, the petitioner shall properly dispose of all hazardous materials. Number three, there shall be no outside payphone on the premises at any time. There shall be no outside vending machines on the premise at any time. There shall be no outside storage on the premises at any time. There shall be no overnight outside storage on the premises at any given time. If a vehicle must remain overnight for any reason, it must be stored inside of a garage. If overnight storage is needed, it should be limited to X number of vehicles at any given time. Number 7, there should be no mechanical or engine repair of autos on the premises at any given time. But number 8, hours of operation shall be limited to what you've testified. Number 9, there shall be no salvage of parts on the premise at any given time. Number 10, there shall be no cord or rope type LED lighting surrounding framing windows and doors. Number 11, the stringing of lights, flags, or streamers on the premises is prohibited. Number 12, exterior amplified intercom systems or phone ringing systems are prohibited. And then number 13 is the nuisance one that I read earlier about shall not be issued a nuisance notice.
Evan, were those for a repair shop?
Yeah.
Because it said no repair on the premises.
I think that's pertaining to like out in the yard. So auto repairs generally should be kept within a building if possible.
Okay, Mr. Vick, will you be having trucks outside while they're waiting for repair? Since you'll be doing body shop repair and stuff like that, will they be outside and will you need outside storage for that?
For the repairs, I mean, these trucks, they come for appointments. So I believe the answer is no, but naturally speaking, they'll be parked outside until they get into the shop. I don't believe that the answer would be yes. I guess if they would sit there for months or weeks or whatever. But as far as the repair things of side, they come in, they on their appointment, they get pulled in, repair, they get parked back outside. And the way trucking is, these customers are waiting at the door to leave with that truck. They're not leaving that truck there.
Okay. And then number 2, will you be doing any tire repair or replacement?
We don't do tire replacement.
The reason I ask, I don't want tires piled up outside or stored. If that is, then they have to be inside.
So to answer your question, no, there will not be tires outside. We don't do tire repairs as far as like repairing tires. All our tires, they come in new and they get installed. They are storage inside the building, but we're not a tire shop as far as like repairing or recapping tires.
Okay, then what do you do with the old tires?
So the old tires are placed into a storage trailer where it gets picked up and taken over to there's a company in Illinois. Yes.
You got someplace to go with them. Okay. So basically, and they will have some way to get rid of all their hazard materials, oils, Freon, antifreeze, stuff like that, correct?
Correct. Everything has its place, to answer your question.
Okay, that's all. Okay. And you're good with the hours that you asked for, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I got.
So,
Zoning, that's all I got.
Ned, do you guys need the lot open for the businesses, for one business to work with the other business? Do you need that lot open to each other? Would that be best practice?
Do you mean like the gate open?
I mean, like a fence. Normally, I want you to have a fence in between two separate businesses.
Yeah, it would make sense because it's one lot. It wouldn't make sense to fence it, and it's not big enough for us to fence it in the middle of the lot or something like that. Yes, we would need it to stay open. Yes.
Okay. And stating that all repairs are done inside, is that feasible for you?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of room.
Okay. And to say that no trucks are to remain outside more than 48 hours, is that feasible for your business?
Yes.
Because these guys are going to take their trucks and get the heck out of there as soon as it's up and running, correct?
Yeah, 99% of the time, they don't even leave. They'll just sit in the break room and wait for them.
Harass you. Yeah. No.
Yeah. They gotta go. I understand that.
Okay, and no tires will be outside ever.
No,
Okay, all right. And you're not going to be doing salvage of any sort. You're not going to be leaving parts outside and junking the place up.
no, definitely
And
not.
last question, have you spoken to the alderperson there?
I tried to connect a few times. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I wasn't able to connect. Maybe I missed a few phone calls myself, and we're all busy, so I'm not blaming anybody, but I haven't been able to connect. I tried. I wanted to get that letter, but I couldn't get it.
Thank you.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay, is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay, is there anyone here to testify in opposition of this appeal? All right, hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits, certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, born maps, and a memo from planning and urban design. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, can you please read appeal number 11941?
Appeal number 11941, 4101 Manchester Avenue.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Matt, I'll go first. Sorry. But again, my name is Evan Winkler, Community Development Planner for the City of St. Louis, and I'll be representing the Building Commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to make exterior alterations for fitness center soccer athletic fields per plans at 4101 Manchester Avenue. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the said property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. The basis for denial of Spencer Development LLC, Matt Spencer, concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue a building permit, authorizing the petitioner to make exterior alterations for a fitness center soccer athletic field per plans at 4101 Manchester Avenue, and city block number 5114.01 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is Zone G, Local Commercial and Office District, with the Forest Park Southeast form-based overlay per ordinance number 70732. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to prohibit locations and uses of buildings or structures and use of land that are incompatible with the type of development planned for specified zoning districts in the city. The applicable zoning provisions are ordinance number 70732, which includes sections 1.1, secondary retail uses, section 1.1, rear ancillary building uses, section 1.2.05, applicability new construction, section Roman numeral 8, 5.8, and section Roman numeral 8, 5.10, use requirements. Evidence of lawful nonconformity has not been presented. In summary, the applicant is applying for a building permit to construct a fitness center and a soccer athletic field in the neighborhood center type 1 area of the Forest Park Southeast form-based code. The project will include one large synthetic turf soccer field and a smaller concrete soccer practice area. The primary use of this facility will be as a soccer field for a fitness center for leagues, practice, training, and skill building. There will also be a small accessory structure that houses the reception desk, a lobby, restrooms, and a multipurpose room. In the neighborhood center type 1 area of the Forest Park Southeast form-based code, fitness centers require conditional use approval. And then rear and ancillary buildings are not permitted in this portion of the form-based code. So a use variance would be required for the ancillary structure. The Planning and Urban Design Agency states that this falls within the Forest Park Southeast Form-Based District Neighborhood Plan. The 2005 Strategic Land Use Plan calls this a specialty mixed use area, which is intended to promote and preserve a unique mix of uses. And then the 2025 Strategic Land Use Plan calls this a medium intensity corridor. And these are areas of the city with active ground floors with a mix of uses, including many types of commercial and retail activities. The granting of variance, therefore, would be in keeping with the designation's intent of a mix of many types of commercial uses. Therefore, planning staff finds the request of appeal number 11941 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Are there any questions for me from the board?
Okay, let's hear from the appellant. Mr. Spencer. Yep.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, if you could state your name and mailing address for the record.
This is Matthew Spencer. Mailing address is 903 Park Avenue, apartment 12E, New York, New York, 10075.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
So the idea of coming into the community there, I did a development up the street in 2015 at 4321 Manchester. We were excited about the activity of the Grove, so I threw my hat in the ring for the RFP to do a mixed-use development there. We barreled forward with a very aggressive plan to do something very dynamic. If anybody has seen the renderings on that, I've poured a great deal of liquid resources into that. It was not able to get completed. And over the past years, I've tried many iterations and trying to find different developers, both locally and across the country, and have not been able to gather the resources necessary to develop what just won't pencil out in the current economic climate there. And through that process, I've been trying to figure out what is a good use for this land to get something done for the community, which is my obligation. And landed on this as the guy brought in to do my operations from Miami is a big soccer guy. He helped develop, or he did develop, the Toca soccer facility further down Manchester. He was the one who sort of opened my eyes to what that could be. Have another local member who's going to do the running of the operations there, who's with St. Louis Soccer or St. Louis City Soccer. So we thought it was a good fit. We can do a quick build on it. We thought it sort of fulfills a lot of community needs in the sense that you've got activity there. It's healthy. It's community oriented. It's a good gathering space. I think this is an ideal third space. What that would mean for the community. We did take a meeting on this with community members. The alderman told me that he was supportive of this, but obviously we needed to do a meeting. It was what I was told was it was a tied 4-4 vote, so there were 8 votes total. Therefore, he was not able to write a letter of recommendation without a quorum. is my understanding. And that is where we've landed. I've attempted to sell this property. I've attempted to develop anything that is reasonable there, and there's just not a lot of traction. So this is my sort of my my best fit for the near term on this land until the economic conditions adjust. I'm happy to take any questions. Yeah.
Yeah, do you have the funds lined up to build this out?
Yeah, this is we're being funded through Busey Bank. They I've got my contractor here, Kevin Conan, on the call as well. We were under the assumption that we were zoned for this originally, so we were eager to get started. We thought we were going to be closing on the financing in December or January. And when we put in for the permits, both myself and Abdul and Alderman Browning were all surprised to see that that was denied. And then working with Evan, who's done great work there to sort of guide us through this process of the variance here.
I was surprised to see that the building was up for sale. I believe it was last November for 2.2 million, or the lot, I should say.
Yeah, that's correct.
Now it's actually up for sale again for 1.2 million, and now you're asking for a variance, and yet the property is still for sale.
Correct.
I struggle to grant a variance when you're not committed, it seems to me.
I'm committed, but I also need to figure out what to do with this property. If I'm not doing anything with it, then it would have to be bought. But I'd like to note that even for me testing the market again at 1.2, I just spoke with my broker before this call. We have zero interest, zilch, and I slashed it by 50%. So there's just not a market for what this is. And I'm trying to figure out a use here given the circumstances. And this is where we've landed. The developer, Green Street, who has the parking lot that's just across Shodo, has recently traded that to a conglomerate, but they have no plans on doing any work there anytime soon. That's my understanding.
Yeah, Green Tree is they're in some money trouble. So if you
A lot of
I
yeah, a
assume
lot of
that
guys
you
are.
know that it's all in the
Yes.
news. So
Yeah, no, I know Green Street. I know all the local developers. They've all been contacted, and nobody's interested.
mhm. So are you actually going to develop this?
Well, that's what we want to do.
So is that a yes?
Yes, of course. I mean, if we have the variance, but if I'm not assigned a variance here, then the thing is going to sit again. So I have to test the markets to see if this thing is even viable for a sale, which are proving, you know, nothing is worth anything except for what somebody will pay for it, and nobody's willing to pay for this. So I will develop this. This is not a money-making operation for me. This is getting something done on a lot that has been sitting for years, and it's drained me of a great deal of capital. So I just want to get something up and running and operational.
If we approve this, how soon could you actually break ground on it?
We should be able to break ground. I believe, Kevin, could you jump in? I think we
We'll have to
just
get
got
them
approval
approved.
from MSD.
We need to get them sworn in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Please raise
Um,
your right hand.
Actually, Kevin, we'll ask that question to you.
Mr.
I
Roth?
think we're I'm sorry. My connection seems to be a little wonky.
It
Hold
seems
on.
to be picking up more now.
Okay. No, so what we will do for Kevin is actually after Mr. Spencer's testimony, we will get his testimony. So if you can remember that question.
Got it. Okay.
So my understanding, I'll just not put words in Kevin's mouth, but my understanding was a 90-day build, which I found pretty extraordinary on that. And we would get to work. I mean, we are now, we've got the planning. MSD just approved the plans, which Kevin can fill you in on more detail with. And then I'm assuming that not much has changed related to the budgets, even with the tariffs and everything that's going on. We're confident in where we were budgeted for this last year. So my assumption would be that we could get started depending on what the contractor's schedule looks like within 30 days.
Thank you.
Any other board members have any questions?
I have one from Mr. Spencer, and he may have to refer this to Mr. Coleman. What about the parking for this? If we draw the sims, I'm looking at the surrounding areas, and it seems like it's a little bit light for any parking. And I appreciate the fact you're in New York, but we don't have the subway and mass transit that you do. So we are more of a vehicle-based society here.
Thanks, Mel. Yeah, we're aware, and that's why we're looking at primarily street parking. There wouldn't be more than 30 people on this site at the most crowded that it would get, as the field is not going to be large. So it's primarily going to be for training and younger people. And Mona, I heard you ask about hours on another one, so I can clear that up as well. I think we'd like to do operations from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., but I'm not sure what kind of traction we're going to get on early morning training. So it more than likely would be sort of after school, like 3, 4 to 10 p.m. in there. And the parking, sorry, Mel. So the parking would be street parking, and then we've got the Green Street lot across the street, which is public parking.
Thank you.
I just want to add, the zoning requirements do not require parking for this use.
Okay, that's I want to make sure we're covered that. Okay. Thank you.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Dan, we're going to start with Kevin first, simply because there was a question posed by one of the commissioners. So let's get you sworn in, Kevin.
Okay.
All right. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Yeah. Kevin Conan, and mailing address would be 13940 St. Charles Rock Road. That's Bridgeton, Missouri 63044.
Okay. And the question was?
Yeah, mainly about construction schedule. So really, Matt was right on. So I think we could get started within 30 days, depending on when the permit is approved. He kind of mentioned it. We do have full MSD approved plans, so everything is already covered with them, and the only thing we would be waiting for is the city's approval. With that, the entire construction project, the bulk of it could be completed really within 2 months. And then there'd be, smaller items still going on for the third month, such as turf installation, maybe a little bit of concrete area touch up, and smaller items like that. But as far as the base work and all the larger scale work on it, we would really be done with that within 2 months.
Okay, Mona, any?
What's the budget?
I believe we were just over $700,000 on the original budget.
Thank you.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay, thank you, Kevin. Mr. Doling, let's get you sworn in.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, state your name and mailing address for the record.
Yep, my name is Dan Doling. My mailing address is 1311 Kentucky Ave, St. Louis, Missouri, 63110.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
Cool, thank you. Hey everybody, my name is Dan and I'm a resident of the Forest Park Southeast neighborhood, president of the Neighborhood Association, and on the board of the Forest Park Southeast Infrastructure Committee. I'm here today expressing my support for the project. While a permanent mixed-use development is the goal, I believe this interim project represents a valuable investment in the Grove. Activating 4101 Manchester from a vacant lot will create an immediate visual and functional improvement to the eastern entry of the Grove, offering much needed energy and vibrancy in the place of inactivity. We know that vacant lots can contribute to the perceptions of disinvestment and reduce foot traffic. For years now, this lot has been served as an unfortunate parking lot or mud pit. Finally converting it into an active space significantly improves the safety, the increased use of the built environment, and will be a metaphorical and literal representation of growth and progress for the district. I believe this project will also serve as a bridge between neighborhood businesses and residents or visitors looking for a full day experience. Spaces near business corridors such as the Grove increase retail sales due to longer dwell times and greater pedestrian presence. The presence of the soccer mini pitch will stimulate foot traffic throughout the day and support businesses during peak and non-peak hours. Over my 9 years of living and serving in the neighborhood, it has become increasingly challenging to find gathering spaces in the neighborhood that aren't centered around an evening drink. Soccer spaces, especially ones like this, provide low barrier for community and visitors to engage with one another. Adding this mini pitch diversifies the district's offerings, which will give new visitors and current residents a third place needed in the neighborhood. For a short-term project like this, the level of quality proposed here helps set a tone of care and stewardship that benefits the neighborhood. The inclusion of the lighting, the play-appropriate fencing, the food and beverage amenities signals a commitment to both functionality and aesthetics. These improvements elevate the space beyond something that is temporary, projecting a sense of intentionality and pride in the place. Again, while this is said to be temporary, this project is a catalyst for the community engagement, economic support for the district, and I think it's a good symbol of the Grove's progressive, inclusive character being around soccer. I support the project and can see it having a positive and tangible impact. Thank you.
Any board members have any questions? Okay, is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal?
I would like to comment.
Mr. Coleman, let's get you sworn in.
Swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Yes, Ron Coleman, Neighborhood Improvement Specialist for the City of St. Louis, assigned to the Forest Park Southeast neighborhood in the Grove Business District, 1520 Market Street, St. Louis, 63103.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
My role here, I think, is to squeeze into the middle and kind of give you the neighborhood feedback that I'm hearing. As you can imagine, I speak to many, many people on a daily basis, and I get the feeling of the vibe, so to speak, of what neighbors are saying. This site has been a constant source of complaint and frustration for many years to many people. Because everyone was geared up for the original plan that was not able to happen due to economic conditions. And ever since I was able to finally say what was proposed on the site, everyone has been excited that I've talked to. They were very, very happy. It is the entrance to the Grove from the east. This site is also currently covered with graffiti on the fencing. The fencing blows down in the wind. There's weeds. This project would be a positive development that would address a few positives, concerns here. It would restore the sidewalks on Shoto, which currently were taken out in anticipation of the previous project. It would improve the pedestrian experience, activate the prominent corner. It would be a healthy amenity for the neighborhood. As Dan mentioned, we have a lot of nightlife, and this would be some daytime activity. And it would provide some revenue for the community improvement district, taxing district. The negatives that, not really negatives, but the people that were opposed or concerned about the project were not necessarily opposed to this particular project, but they were hoping for something more. So those on the committee that voted not to support it at this time were hoping for the original, denser, larger project. I think the other people that voted for it said that this could be a good temporary building. So when the market improves, the use could be converted. It's not, an expensive build right now. It could easily be accommodated for a 6 or 7 story tower when the market improves. So I just wanted to let you know what I've heard from the neighborhood. It's mostly all positive, and that's my testimony.
Okay, any board members have any questions? Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this appeal? Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibit, certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from Planning and Urban Design, Cultural Resources Office review signed by Bob Bettis, and an email letter of opposition from Ryan Day. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, can you read appeal number 11943?
Appeal number 11943, 2852 Lafayette Avenue.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Again, good afternoon, board members. My name is Evan Winkler, Community Development Planner for the City of St. Louis, and I'll be representing the Building Commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to make interior alterations for retail space with office in one space and an art gallery in another space at 2852 Lafayette Avenue. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the said property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. The basis for denial of Joseph Klitzing concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue a building permit, authorizing the petitioner to do interior alterations per plans at 2852 Lafayette Avenue in city block number 1312.00 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is Zone C, Multiple Family Dwelling District. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to fix reasonable standards to which buildings and structures shall conform. Applicable zoning code provisions are section 26.16.010 uses prohibited. No structure or land shall be used for use other than those permitted in the district in which such premises are located unless such use is permitted by other provisions of the zoning code. Also section 26.28.020 and or 26.28.025. Use regulations and conditional uses of the C multiple family dwelling district do not allow the petitioner's proposal as stated above. Evidence of lawful nonconformity has not been presented. So in summary, the applicant is applying for a building permit to make interior alterations on the first floor of what would become a mixed-use building. On the ground floor, there's a space that's about 397 square feet, and it's proposed to be converted to a retail with about 170 square feet of office. And then the other portion is roughly 1,000 square feet space and is proposed to be converted into an art gallery. A use variance is required as art galleries are not a permitted use in the district, as well as a second use variance for mixed use, which is also not permitted use in the district. Of note, the plan reviewer states that this address is in the transit-oriented development exceptions, which include reduction in parking, height, increase in height, and increase in density. However, this proposal does not trigger any of those exceptions. The City of St. Louis Planning and Urban Design Agency states that this location does not fall within a neighborhood plan. The 2025 strategic use plan states that this is a medium intensity neighborhood, which is intended to be primarily residential, though some neighborhoods serving commercial and retail uses are allowed. The intent is to support mixed use on corner lots, especially neighborhood serving assets like a gallery. Therefore, planning staff finds the request of appeal number 11943 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Are there any questions from the board?
Okay, let's hear from the appellate.
Hello. Oh, can you guys hear me? Okay. There we go. Hi, how are you guys doing? My name's Nicole. I'm the co-owner.
Hi, Ms. McConnell.
Hi, Nicole. We need to get you sworn in first.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, Nicole. Now state your name and mailing address for the record.
Hi, my name is Nicole McConnell, and my mailing address is 1091 Groby Road, St. Louis, Missouri, 63130.
Okay, continue with your testimony.
Hi, yeah, my name is Nicole. I'm the co-owner of 2852 Lafayette Avenue. We are wanting to put in a clothing store and an art gallery / event space. We plan on hosting a lot of different events for the community, just to bring them together. It will also be available for the public for if they wanted to rent it out for bridal showers or birthday parties, whatever the case may be. We have full support from the neighbors and from the alderwoman. This building was really left abandoned and it was in rough condition, and the neighborhood's super excited to have it done back up and looking good. So.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any board members have any questions?
How many people can you have in the building for an event?
We don't have our occupancy permit yet for that, but I'm guessing probably 60 to 75. It's going to be a very intimate event space, and more so we want to have, it will be really more structured around small business pop-ups, like bingo nights, just stuff to bring the community together.
Do you have any parking?
Yeah, so we have 2 parking spaces in the back, but on Nebraska, there are no properties on that street on the, what side of the building is that? Going down Nebraska towards the south, there's no properties that face that street. So there's a lot of street parking available.
Does that go across the bridge there?
Yeah, down to a certain point, yeah.
So how many cars do you think could park there? That's like 1 block long, right?
Probably 1 or 2. And then we also have in front of the building, and then on the other side of Lafayette going north, there's no properties facing that way either. So it's a ton of street parking up and down Lafayette and up and down Nebraska and in the back of our building.
You have 2 spots in the back of your building?
Yeah. We also have a open yard that we are considering just pouring more concrete for more parking areas back there, but hopefully the street parking will suffice because there is a lot of it.
Did you get a letter from the alderperson? I'm looking through. I'm not seeing it, but that doesn't always mean I haven't seen it yet.
Yes. Yeah, we did. It was turned in to our engineer.
Mona, we do have a letter. It's Exhibit J. It was an email from Alicia Sanye. I can read it if you'd like me to.
Nope, I found it. Thank you.
Okay.
And did you present to the neighborhood association, Ms. McConnell?
There's actually not a neighborhood association established. They were working on that for the Eastgate District, and I was involved in that. But it hasn't been conformed for what I know. But we did get approved for our liquor license, so I knocked many doors and got the neighborhood support, and we were approved for that. So I'm very well acquainted with our neighbors in our neighborhood.
So you're not part of the Gate District?
No, I am. But
There's a
whenever
neighborhood
what I know.
association.
Okay, for the Eastgate District, they were trying to get their own, and so I'm not sure then maybe.
Mona, I actually had that same question.
Okay.
So there was one, they disbanded. I reached out to a previous I don't think she was the president, but maybe secretary or one of their administrators. And she said they've disbanded. They are working towards something, which is why Alicia in her email said that she's speaking also on behalf of the residents.
Thank you. Okay, that's all my questions. Oh, and you'll need a commercial dumpster. Are you familiar with that?
Okay. Yes, in the back alley. I actually made a request. I have a ticket request for that, so I can check on that, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's no problem. Mhm.
Nicole, what will be the hours of operation for each of the businesses?
So the event space will be on the weekdays, no later than 10 p.m., probably 9 or 10 p.m. And then for the weekends, everyone will be gone by 11, last call at 10:30.
No, I got one question. You said you put a request in. Who'd you put your request in for the dumpster?
The trash, what are they called?
That you have to have a private
the-
company. You can't have the city because that's not paid for through your taxes. So you'd have to go through something like Waste Management or I
Republic.
don't know, some of the
Okay.
other. And you don't have to
Okay,
have
that's good to know.
huge dumpsters and that don't generate that much trash. You could have a large rollout or something like that, but it has to be through a commercial company. It can't be through the city.
Okay, that's good to know then. I can definitely look into that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
But what time would you start?
For the clothing store, probably around 11 or 12, I would assume. And then for the event space, probably 2 p.m. on during the weekdays if there was an event or something that early. We're more so focused on the end times because we don't want to.
We're going to
We
give
don't
you
want it to go
hours
to.
here, Nicole. So we want you to kind of be specific because if you close or open earlier, you're going to have to come back and pay $200. So let's ask for the sky is the limit here. Okay. So why don't we start you like at 10 a.m. for the store and close you at 6?
Let me ask what time do you want the store to close?
To close?
Yes.
Probably like.
This is the co-owner who's right here with me.
Well, normally we want him to be sworn in. So,
Okay. Do you want him to be sworn in?
I don't care. You can answer or he can answer, but he needs to be sworn in.
7 p.m.
Okay, 9 to 7 on the store. And that's Monday through, help me.
Every day. Every day.
Okay, 7 days a week. All right, and the event center is 7 days a week?
Yes.
And it's going to open at 2 p.m. and close at?
We'll say Monday through Friday, 2 to 10 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. till 11 p.m.
You want that 11 p.m. on Friday as well?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I want you to be right. I don't want you to have to come back. Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. No problem at all. So that's 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 9 to 11 Friday through Sunday.
That's correct.
Okay. We just want to get you right. 9 through 11. Okay. Gotcha. Thanks for asking that, Evan. I appreciate that. Okay. All my questions.
Okay, any other board members have any questions? All right, thank you, Ms. McConnell. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Okay, hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits, certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting this letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from Planning and Urban Design, 3 owner statement for building permit issued with zoning hold, and an email letter of support from Alderwoman Alicia Sanye. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, can you read appeal number 11944?
Appeal number 11944, 7201 Southwest Avenue.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Again, my name is Evan Winkler, Community Development Planner for the City of St. Louis, and I'll be representing the Building Commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal of the Board of Public Services decision to deny a subdivision plat to subdivide the land at 7201 Southwest Avenue. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the said property and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. First, I'll be reading from the BPS denial letter, and then I'll be reading the appellant's appeal form. May 4th, 2025. Dear Ms. Harrison, at its meeting on March 4th, 2025, the Board of Public Service voted to deny application number 132730 for Flip Squad Monopoly LLC to subdivide 7201 Southwest Avenue in city block number 4801 for the rules and the regulations of the Board of Public Service governing the subdivision of land in the city of St. Louis, Missouri, Board Order number 720 amended, and per the following section of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. The plan reviewer's remarks is that the applicant is applying to subdivide the land at 7201 Southwest Avenue. It's located in the A single family dwelling district. The purpose of subdividing is to construct a 2-family dwelling on the western portion of the current lot. In 2023, a building permit was issued to construct the existing 2-family dwelling, which sits on the eastern portion of the lot at the corner of Southwest Avenue and Hewitt Avenue. In the A district, 2-family dwellings are a permitted use as long as they meet the area and parking requirements of the B 2-family dwelling district. This proposed subdivision does not meet the area requirements. Therefore, a use variance is required prior to approval per section 26.20.020B use regulation. B is 2-family dwellings which comply with the area and parking regulations of the B 2-family dwelling district, where 40% or more of the frontage of the street is occupied by either 2-family, semi-detached 2-family, or multiple family dwellings. And then also the A district, which refers to the B district for area regulations, requires a 2-family dwelling to have a lot area of 2,500 square feet for each dwelling unit. This means each of the proposed lots would need to be 5,000 square feet. However, each lot will only be 3,750 square feet. Therefore, because it does not meet the density of population, 2 area variants are needed, 1 for each of the lots prior to approval. Per section 26.24.080A, density of population, single-family dwellings shall have a lot area of not less than 4,000 square feet, except that lots of record prior to the effective date of Ordinance 45309 may be used for 1 single-family dwelling, provided the yard regulations of this section are complied with. Other dwellings, except as provided in section 26.24.020C, shall have a lot area of not less than 2,500 square feet for each dwelling unit. Additionally, at the time of the application, No maintenance agreements were submitted for encroaching the side yard setbacks. In the A district, a total combined side yard should not be less than 10 feet, with either side yard not being less than 4 feet. The proposed side yards are all less than 4 feet. Therefore, 3 area variances are required unless maintenance agreements are provided, which they did provide a maintenance agreement for the side yards between the proposed subdivision parcel. And that's per section 26.20.070 side yard. There shall be provided a side yard of not less than 4 feet in width on each side of a building, and the total width of both side yards shall not be less than 10 feet. Provided, however, that lots of record prior to the effective date of this zoning ordinance having a width of less than 40 feet may reduce the total side yard width by an amount equal to 1/2 the distance between the width of such lot and 40 feet, but in no case shall either be less than 3 feet in width. Should you feel aggrieved by our decision or any part thereof, you may appeal within 60 calendar days of the date of this notice to the Board of Adjustment, Room 400, City Hall. For your convenience, there is included with this notice an application for appeal. Denied by order of the Board of Public Service, March 4, 2025. Respectfully, Michelle Knox, Secretary to the Board. Appeal decision made by the Board of Public Service comes now Mark Assad and says that on the 20th day of March 2025, a subdivision consolidation plat was denied by the Board of Public Service that would have authorized the petitioner to subdivide the land at 7201 Southwest Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri 63143. In accordance with the plans and specifications, the Board of Public Service denied the subdivision consolidation permit for said occupancy, and the petitioner hereby appeals the denial of the permit for the following reasons. There are model examples of some duplexes built at 7201 Southwest and on the same street. Parking pad will be done at the back alley, and maintenance agreement for the side yard has been completed, replicating the same duplex that exists currently at 7201 Southwest. My $200 appeal fee is attached. I understand this fee is not refundable. This 20th day of March 2025, signed by the owner's agent, which is the general contractor. So in summary, the applicant's simply trying to subdivide the parcel. There's an existing 2-family dwelling on the eastern portion of the lot. This subdivision would require a use variance because the proposed use of the new, what would be a vacant lot, would be a new 2-family dwelling. So use variance is required. 2 area variances are required because when you subdivide the land, there's not enough land for 2-family dwellings. And then an area variance is still required for one of the side yards, which will be 3.25 feet on the very far west side yard of the western proposed parcel. The City of St. Louis Plan and Urban Design Agency states that there's not a neighborhood plan for this area. The 2025 Strategic Land Use Plan calls this a neighborhood preservation area, which is intended to promote the preservation and development of new infill residential that's integrated with the surrounding neighborhood. The 2025 Strategic Land Use Plan calls this a medium intensity neighborhood, which is intended to be primarily residential and support many types of housing, ranging from medium scale multi-unit buildings to single unit buildings. And then an overall explicit goal of the SLUP is to establish a wider range of housing options and add density back into neighborhoods, encouraging infill development. Therefore, planning staff finds the request of appeal number 11944 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Are there any questions from the board?
Okay, let's hear from the appellant. Mr. Assad, let's get you sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, if you could state your name and mailing address for the record.
Absolutely. So I'm Mark Assad with K&M Homes, and my address is 1336 Magnolia Manor Court, St. Charles, Missouri 63303.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
So I'm asking for a variance, as Evan said, to build replicate the duplex that we built on this lot. I do understand that the lot is going to be smaller than what's allowed, so I'm asking for a variance for that. The way we had built the first duplex, we had done the parking pad where you pull in on the rear from Hewitt, and we have it set up, if we are granted this, the variances, to you pull into the alley for the other 2-car parking pad on the rear end. If you guys have any more questions for me or any concerns, I feel like Evan kind of spelled out the whole situation. I'm willing to answer any questions you guys got.
Board members, do you have any questions? Mel?
No, I don't have any questions. I see what he's doing. It works.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you, Mr. Assad. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this? Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits. Certified copy of the zoning ordinance, Board of Public Service denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from Planning and Urban Design, copy of the BPS file, and maintenance agreement signed by Flip Squad Monopoly LLC, Harrison. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard.
Thank you.
Drea, can you read? Yep. Can you read appeal number 11960?
Appeal number 11960, 6400 Oakland Avenue.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Again, my name is Evan Winkler, Community Development Planner for the City of St. Louis, and I'll be representing the Building Commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to construct a concrete patio for a restaurant and bar per plans at 6400 Oakland Avenue. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the said property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. The basis for denial of David Guller concerning the Building Commissioner's refusal to issue a building permit authorizing the petitioner to construct a concrete patio per plans for a restaurant and bar at 6400 Oakland in city block number 5968.00 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is Zone A, Single Family Dwelling District. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to conserve the values of property throughout the city of St. Louis and protect the character and stability of residential, business, and industrial areas. It's also to regulate and restrict the location and use of buildings, structures, and land for trade, industry, residence, and other uses, and to regulate and restrict the intensity of such uses. The applicable zoning code provisions are section 26.16.020, structures prohibited. No structure shall be erected, placed, enlarged, or structurally altered unless such action shall make the premises upon which it shall stand conform to the regulations for the district in which the premises are located, unless authorized by other provisions of the zoning code. Also, section 26.20.020 and/or 26.20.025. Use regulations and conditional uses of the A single-family dwelling district do not allow the appellant's proposal as stated above. Also, section 26.40.040C, specific parking and loading regulations. In addition, the following uses shall provide parking space within 1,000 feet of the main building. C is restaurants, bars, taverns, and exhibition halls with more than 1,000 square feet of floor area shall provide parking space sufficient to accommodate one motor car for each 200 square feet of floor area in excess of 1,000 square feet, which is actually used by patrons or customers for such purposes. Evidence of lawful nonconformity has not been presented. In summary, the applicant is applying to construct a patio for an existing restaurant, which is operating under appeal number 7497. This is an expansion of use where restaurants and bars are not a permitted use in the A district. Therefore, a new use variance is required prior to approval. The City of St. Louis Planning and Urban Design Agency states that this location does not fall within a neighborhood plan. The 2005 Strategic Land Use Plan calls this a neighborhood preservation area, which is intended to promote the preservation and development of some commercial uses that are physically integrated with the surrounding neighborhood. And then the 2025 Strategic Land Use Plan calls this a high-intensity neighborhood. And this designation describes areas of the city that are primarily residential, but will feature larger buildings and a mix of uses. The intent is to support neighborhoods serving commercial uses on or near transit lines and close to major assets like Forest Park. Therefore, planning staff finds the request of appeal number 11960 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Are there any questions from the board?
Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Hello? Yes. Yeah, let me get you sworn in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, state your name and mailing address for the record.
David Guller. The property is at 6400 Oakland Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63139.
All right, go ahead with your testimony.
Yes, thank you for having me today. The purpose of me being here in the variance is because there is an economic hardship issue at hand at Pat Conley's. My family and I bought Pat Conley's restaurant in the heart of Dogtown, an establishment that has been around for 80 plus years. We purchased this property over 2 years ago for $1 million, the land and the building. And we want to build a patio outside Pat Conley's to complement the neighborhood because there is an economic hardship at hand. We bought the property for $1 million. And in Dogtown area, there are many restaurants and bars that have patios since COVID. Seamus McDaniel, Tam Avenue, Heavy Riff, Felix's, Hogtown Smokehouse, High Point Drive-In. Pat Conley's is the only establishment that does not have a patio. When you look at the land from an aerial view, we have the building and the land. I am only using the building as on 20% of the entire property. The 80% of the other of the purchase is not being utilized, and there is no revenue at all on 80% of the land. So I'm only, right now, there's only 20% of the entire purchase being utilized, and there is not enough revenue to support the current status of Pat Conley's. The first floor of Pat Conley's is about 1,000 square feet. The second floor is about the same, about 1,100 square feet. The city came out about 8 months ago and was very excited about the expansion of a patio outside to complement the urban area. So we started digging and we removed all the dirt and concrete and we made it ADA compliant, something that the city really wanted us to do. So right now, next to Pat Conley's, just west of the building, there is a huge empty lot of nothing but dirt waiting for a patio to be built. This is an economic hardship. Over the past 2 years, we have lost almost $200,000. I had to stop the building of a patio months ago because I was sued. And because of the stoppage, I'd had to delay all the contractors, delay the entire project, and hope that I can gain a variance here, have support of a variance so I can push through and have this patio done before the next St. Patrick's Day parade in March. This is going to take about a 6-month process to get these contractors back on the books to build a patio. Currently, I employ about 15 employees. City taxes, food tax is roughly $3,400 on average a month. I pay about $6,000 in annual taxes for this property. In my estimate, with the patio being built, I estimate employing 15 to 16 more employees on the books with additional city revenue of, additional $3,600 a month in revenue to the city. There is plenty of parking to support the patio for Turtle Park and along Oakland Avenue. There's plenty of parking to support the current plans and the patio at stake. It would be a beautiful patio with beautiful landscaping, a privacy fence, a bar, and a bathroom. Right now, all the other restaurants have an outdoor patio, and patrons in the community are going to those restaurants because they have outdoor seating for kids, for families, and for those that need ADA compliance. That's all right now. Thank you. I can't hear you, sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. McCarthy. I was asking, does any board members have any questions? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal?
I am.
Okay, Ms. Geller, let's get you signed in. Get you sworn in, sorry.
Swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, state your name and mailing address for the record.
Sarah Gutler, 1 Old Westbury Lane, Webster Groves, 63119.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
Hi, I'm the wife of the owner, but also have always been a patron of Dogtown restaurants and a big supporter of the city. We've been supporters of the city as a family. We have 5 kids. We've lived in the city. Yes, we live in Webster Groves now, but both of us, when I was single and when we got married, both lived in the city for years. We own other properties in the city. We're always trying to make things look better. My husband does a great job with that. I teach and work at a school in South City. And we'll work there until I'm done working. And we bought Pat's to keep this iconic bar alive, and of course to make a profit. I'm in teaching, so hey, I don't know a lot about profits, but I do know about helping people, and I do think buying Pat's kept this historic bar alive, and I think that has been amazing, and we've had a lot of great support. But it's really hard to make a profit, unfortunately. If something like COVID happened again, we would definitely be bankrupt. I have other friends that own restaurants and bars in the city, and that has happened to them, and they said really without the patio, I don't know what you would ever fall back on. I'm also a mom of five who loves to go to the zoo. And we've been talking about since we opened it, how do we get these families that park right by us at Turtle Park to come on over? We're offering kids meals now. We've got ice cream, things like that. But you know, when you only have so many seats in kind of more of a tavernish atmosphere, because we want to maintain that historic feel of the bar, it's really hard to do. So again, we've sought advice from friends that own bars, and they said it's just really hard to succeed without the patio. So we're really hoping we can get this approved. Thank you.
Okay, any board members have any questions for Ms. Geller? Thank you. Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Yes.
My name is
You are.
My name is Patrick J. McCarthy, and I represent the appellants in this matter.
Okay, let's get you sworn in, Mr. McCarthy.
Swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, and if you could state your name and mailing address for the record.
My name is Patrick J. McCarthy. My mailing address is 1309 Convention Plaza in the city of St. Louis, Missouri, 63103-1908.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead with your testimony.
Thank you. Let me amplify the remarks of the appellant, Dave Geller, and his bride. Is that some of the things involved is 20% of the land is being utilized of the $1 million property they have involved. They're paying taxes on 100% of that land at a commercial rate, even though it's zoned in a residential area. The issue here is that the unique circumstances is you've got a intersection of a public street, you've got a commercial building on it, and a vacant lot. Now, the vacant lot is zoned as residential type A. If that had been economically developable, it would have been developed somewhere in the last 80 years for housing, with all the new housing placed in the Dogtown over the past 80 years. So obviously it's of no economic use as currently zoned. So therefore he's seeking a use variance. And he meets all the criteria of a use variance because there's no reasonable return on the land if we were following the zoning on it. And that's because of the unique nature of the land and the situation that we're in. Nothing to do with the neighborhood generally. And the grant of a variance wouldn't essentially alter the locality because it's already a commercial establishment set inside the general residential area for the reasons that Ms. Geller testified to and Dave testified to. It's just a mere expansion of an existing property that's lapping up on a century old. He has been able not to make any economic use of the property at all, and he's deprived of any beneficial use of that property because of the zoning. And the public benefit, I think that the board will find, is much in favor of because of the number of letters of support, including that of the aldermen, that were placed with the file there. I'd also asked the board to take judicial notice of the excise commissioner records from the city of St. Louis that indicate that nine of the dwellers, the apartment dwellers next door, have signed petitions in favor of putting the patio and the garden out there between the building in which they reside and the current structure. The other issue we have is this has been a deleterious effect on people that are differently abled, in that it's not ADA compliant, the building isn't. And that, of course, shuts out a good majority of the people who'd like to go there, particularly those that attend the zoo, which, of course, is ADA compliant. We also reiterate the fact that parking is not an issue there as it is in other places in Dogtown. They have Oakland Avenue, they have Tam Avenue, and they have those multitude of spots that are located in Turtle Park. So the relief is necessary for the appellant. There's a unique nature of this property. It's stuck between a multifamily dwelling and a commercial property on a major thoroughfare of the city across from the interstate highway. And as to green space being preserved, that's surrounded by 1,300 acres of Forest Park, some of which is directly across the street from there. It's not suitable for any residential use. Otherwise, as I mentioned, it would have been developed years ago. That's economically impossible to develop for such use. So therefore, as I understand the 2005 and the 25 plan, that this is in conformance with it for a high density area such as Dogtown. And it's certainly in keeping with the neighborhood. It's been there before part of the neighborhood was ever there. As I mentioned, there's no economic use for as it's currently zoned or being permitted to use because it's just not there. In the meantime, it's a great hardship on the Gullers and their investment of $1 million in our city with no reasonable return as based upon the present conditions. I'll be happy to answer any questions board members may have.
Yes, Mel.
One thing, this is the bar itself. It's a bar restaurant. That's been part of the city for quite some time, correct?
Since at least 1942, probably prior to that.
Okay, and they would have any problem with, are they going to have outside music on there? Do you know?
It would, I think the plan would be to be in conformance with whatever the current regulations are for outdoor seating and patios.
So they would have no problem to say like 10 o'clock, turn off the music for the neighborhood and stuff like that.
Right. Well, of course, they're good neighbors no matter what. They're very active in the neighborhood. And of course, they would accommodate the neighbors in that regard.
I'm sure they would. So, okay.
Mel, would you like me to read the conditions of the previous variance?
I think that would probably be best.
Okay. Condition number 1 said all glass areas on the west and north sides of the addition are to be permanently fixed in a closed position, with the exception of exit door located on the north side if addition. And I will note, I don't believe the addition was ever constructed, but this was the variance that was granted. Number 2 is that the glass areas on the west side of the addition shall be glazed with glass panels that provide a sound attenuating benefit, such as triple glazing, quote unquote heat mirror. Number 3 is that the skylights are to be fixed in a permanently closed position. Number 4 was that there was no outside seating or services to be allowed in the courtyard or north of the addition or in the garden area on the west of the addition. Number 5 was no live entertainment permitted on the premises. Number 6 is new parking lot to have a fence installed on the north, west, and south perimeters of the lot. The fence shall be designed so as to prohibit any foot traffic from traversing from the parking lot through garden area on the west of the addition. And then number 7 was a landscaping in the garden area on the west side of the addition is to be so densely installed so as to minimize sound transmission that might be generated from the addition. Landscaping is to be continuously maintained. Landscaping plans must be submitted and approved by Heritage and Urban Design. And this was the use variance granted in 1998 for the restaurant bar.
So my question would be back to the owners. Would they have any problem with any of those? Because I think you're going to have if you want to have entertainment or something out there, you would have to change that.
May it please the board. He's referring to the appeal number 7497, which was preceded by appeal number 7310, where this board has found that it would suffer an unnecessary hardship. Relief is necessary. A variance would not destroy the preservation plan. and granting a variance would result in substantial justice to all. The restrictions that were just read into the record were applying for an addition on the building. It wasn't for a patio, so it's completely irrelevant to the application we're making today.
Okay, so I want to make sure we bring that out so that we don't have a question about that.
Right, this is a new variance, but he was just asking what the previous conditions were.
So I don't have a problem with that. I'm good. Anything, anybody else?
Any other board members? Okay. All right. Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with Mr. Mullet. Let's get you sworn in, sir.
Swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Mollett, and I'm with Greensfelder here in the city. Our mailing address is 10 South Broadway, Suite 2000, St. Louis 63102. I'm here to speak on behalf of my client who owns the 30-unit apartment complex that the Gullers have dug a ditch up to the edge of. My client's name is Southmore OAS LLC, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about them. Southmore owns this building and has for more than 40 years, so since 1984. Byron Company is the longtime property manager, and Mike Lutsky, who's also here to speak, is better positioned than I am as an expert in real estate and this particular parcel, the 30-unit apartment complex, to talk about the impact that this would have on, in particular, the 9 units whose back windows will be just feet from the edge of a proposed 223 reveling patio users. I think we touched a little bit on the history, and I think it's important to keep that in mind as we talk about the current situation. Southmore and Byron have been a vibrant member of the community for 4 decades, living harmoniously with various, and I think they'll probably tell you every owner of Pat Connolly's until this one. Part of that peaceful cohabitation admittedly included there was a lot known as 6402 Oakland, which is the vacant lot that we're talking about, that this owner purchased. At the time, the owner purchased 6400 and the operating rights for the bar. So they bought 2 parcels of land, not 1. They then took action to combine those parcels. So when we talk about 6400, it sounds almost as if the bar has always been 1 lot that goes from the front door over to the edge of the building. It's important to understand that is very recent. 6402 was its own parcel until these owners came along. That parcel was and has been zoned residential and remains residential today. It took me, when I was first approached by Southmore, to talk about when they opened their window and found this pit dug up to the edge of their building, all of about 10 seconds on the city's website to determine the zoning of 6402 Oakland, which is still available on the website despite the actions of this owner. Which means the owner either bought both properties, parcels, knowing that they were zoned residential, or didn't look. Mr. Guller mentioned a lawsuit. There is a lawsuit. My client sued and obtained a TRO from Judge Moriarty, and we have a restraining order prohibiting any additional commercial development on that vacant lot. That case remains pending. This is an attempt to shift that dispute to another forum, your forum. And it's a forum that has spoken to this issue twice. The first time was in 1997, and Mr. McCarthy mentioned a previous Board of Adjustment had a hearing and they concluded an outdoor patio would be okay. But Judge Julian Bush of the Circuit Court in September 1997 reversed and overruled the Board of Adjustment, who concluded building a patio up to the edge of this 30-unit apartment complex without its consent was not an undue hardship that justified a variance. In response, prior owners came back in 1998 and tried a second time. And Mr. McCarthy tells you, well, it wasn't the same project. They wanted expansions to the building. I would refer the board to the permit application, which shows this does involve an opening up of the building, including a bar that will go from the existing structure outside onto the patio. It'll involve a restroom that doesn't exist being built outside the bar and restaurant into the patio area, as well as not one patio, but 3. And high density 223 people are proposed to be out there on any given afternoon or evening, drinking within feet of this residential building. The 1998 hearing concluded, and you've just heard it read to you, no outside seating or service be allowed. After evidence, people came and testified about what would be the impact in this residential neighborhood of putting in 200 plus seats right up to the edge of the building. And a board similar to yourself, after letting everyone come and talk and have their time, concluded that you can do commercial improvements, and they can here too, but you can't take outside seating and service into the open air. And why? Because these people are going to be sitting right up against these windows on this residential structure, 9 different units. So you've heard a lot of talk about, well, we really have no choice. This is an economic hardship. We need 223 seats, an outdoor bar, etc. ADA compliant? Fine. They can do that without a variance to do outside seating. Additional parking? Fine. You can do that without outside seating, without service, without music, without booze. Again, Mr. Lutsky can talk to you about the impact, but there are plenty of ways this property can be used. You have not heard any evidence that they couldn't use this lot, which they chose to buy, for other purposes, other than you've heard, well, it probably wouldn't be feasible to put a new house on it. Bear in mind, you didn't get any evidence on that. Even in 1997, the then owners put on evidence attempting to show whether it would be cost effective to put a house on the lot or do something else. I don't know what you've got in written materials, but I haven't heard any evidence other than conjecture. Now, it's important. It's not that I don't feel bad for the Gullers, but what I do feel bad is for Southmore, which has been a good neighbor in this community, living its life, minding its own business for 40 years. This owner knew when it decided to buy the bar didn't have a patio. The owner tells you, well, listen to all these other bars that have patios. If that was important to him, he should have looked at the zoning to determine whether this bar could have a patio, not dig a hole and force my client to go down and bug Judge Moriarty to get a TRO to stop them from violating the zoning code. They purchased this property in 2023. They didn't ask Southmore if they were interested in having this sort of entertainment right outside their windows, but they did ask for our support for a liquor license. And at that time, in February 2023, Mr. Lutsky's father, on behalf of Byron Company, said in no uncertain terms, we want you to know the vacant property to the south and west is also residential, and we will insist they remain a buffer zone to the adjacent homes of our tenants. You should also be aware that the exterior use of any vacant lots abutting our residential property will be vigorously opposed. That was in February of 23. This is not some new change in circumstance. COVID had already come and gone long before February of 23. They bought it in hopes of making more money. The economic hardship that you heard is the Gullers can't make as much money if they don't have a patio. What about Southmore, who has existing residential structures, who's doing everything right? In order for them to have more patrons, they have to interfere with our ability to have happy residents who don't want to back up to a loud outdoor patio. They referenced all these other patios and said, I want to be like them. How many of those are abutting within feet a 30-unit residential development? Any? They could have brought evidence on any of that. They brought evidence on none of that. All you've heard is, this is rough for us if we don't get to put in the patio that the City of St. Louis ordinances clearly say we can't do. My client is not asking for favors. They're not asking you to do anything for them. They're asking you to please, to these owners who knew what they were up against, tell them, as we told them in February of 2023, use the lot as you please, but no outside seating, no outside alcohol, no outside entertainment. You can have your ADA entrance, but you can't build right up to the edge of our building.
Thank you, Mr. Bullock. Any board members have any questions? Okay. Is there anyone else here to testify in opposition to this appeal?
Yes.
Mr. Lutsky.
Yes.
Let's get you sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. State your name and mailing address for the record.
Michael Lutsky, 6060 Delmar, St. Louis, Missouri, 63112.
Okay. Go ahead with your testimony.
Well, I think Mr. Mollett really summed it up very nicely. I would like to reiterate, we have 9 apartments with 9 bedrooms that back up to that lot, that are directly adjacent to that lot. It's important that we preserve their peace and quiet, and to have a patio of any size, let alone a 223 person one. There's just no way that their peace and quiet can be guaranteed. It is zoned residential. It has always been zoned residential. Pat Connolly's Bar is a commercial island in a residential neighborhood. The commercial district, Dogtown Commercial District, is 2-3 blocks away. There are no other commercial buildings anywhere near. And for them to expand into the residential neighborhood, we are vigorously against, to support our tenants. As far as the ADA question, I don't know. It looks like to me, and I have a picture of it right here, and it looks to me that they have a ramp on one side and some steps on the other side. So it really looks like it is ADA compliant as it is. But nonetheless, we're here to support our tenants and to support no outside patio. I think, as I said, I think Mr. Mollett said it very well as far as our position. Any questions?
Any board members have any questions?
I have one quick question. So they bought the lot with the building at the same time. Is that correct, Mr. Lutsky?
That's what I assume, yes.
Okay, thank you.
It was owned back in '97 and again in 2020. It was not a contiguous a lot. There are other lots around it, and the bar has owned it, has always owned them. So there has been no desire to make it residential or anything else, as far as I know.
That's why I just wanted to clarify that just for myself. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay, is there anyone else here to testify in opposition to this appeal?
Mr. Chairman, it requires some remarks may require a very brief rebuttal.
Mr. McCarthy, I will give you and opposing counsel both 2 minutes to respond. Once we determine if there is anyone else looking to testify. Okay, Mr. McCarthy, you are.
Thank you. Lest the board be misled, the reason the lawsuit exists is Mr. Guller submitted plans to your zoning department and received approval. Submitted to the building department, submitted the plans for the patio as we've described, and was issued a construction permit. The construction permit was issued to him prior to undertaking any work on the vacant lot. Subsequent to that time, someone discovered, and it wasn't by any duplicity or falsity on the part of the applicant here, that it didn't meet the zoning requirements. How that happened, I don't know, but it was nothing to do with the appellant. So once the appellant determined, well, first of all, Mr. Lutsky did bring suit, and the judge granted a temporary restraining order. During the pendency of this lawsuit, the building department revoked the permit, and that's why it's on a standstill now. The reason they revoked the permit was improper zoning, which is our whole purpose of being here today. I thank the court for the opportunity to rebuttal.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Mr. Mullet.
Yeah, just to be clear, they did apply for a permit, as you know. That's an important part of the file because it outlines the nature and extent of this patio, including the 3 separate terraces and all the heavy density. The building permit was revoked by the city. I don't know why, nor would I put myself in a position to say, other than the application listed initially 6400 as the address for which the permit was requested, not 6402. I'm not saying that was right or wrong, but I can see how someone receiving that would be confused because 6400 is an existing non-conforming use, whereas 6402, the vacant lot itself, the application was not done to do building on that lot. And I'd like to believe that somebody would have caught that immediately, that 6402, had that been identified, was ineligible for a building permit. And yes, as soon as the city was notified, they immediately revoked the building permit because it is not acceptable. 2 other small notes. You heard talk about, well, what do we do now? There's this empty lot. If you reject this, if you deny the appeal, we'll have this ugly lot. 2 things. One, they are the ones who chose to dig the hole. Again, they did so in direct opposition, knowing that we would fight any use that involved outdoor seating, but they dug the hole anyway. And again, I am not unfeeling, but they did that voluntarily and despite knowing that we were against this. So the presence of the empty lot is not our problem. They did it.
Mr. Mullet, let me stop you. They received a building permit, and so at that point they had authority to, in fact, dig a hole. Okay, you can continue.
They have the right to dig the hole pursuant to the building permit, which has been revoked. They are making the argument that because there's an empty lot there now, they should get this appeal because the empty lot has no other uses. The empty lot has any number of other uses, and those that are compatible with the zoning as it exists and does justice to the neighbors. My last comment, you know the standard as well as I, your council knows the standard. In addition to needing to prove unnecessary hardship, which they haven't, other than the inability to compete with other buildings that are not up against residential uses, only testimony you've heard, the final requirement, as you know, is granting the variance will result in substantial justice for all, not the buyers who bought it in a defined area where there'd never been an outdoor patio, justice for all. That includes Southmore and its 30 units. That includes all of the Southmore residents. We're asking that you do justice for all, not somebody who wishes they could make more money than they're currently making.
Thank you, Mr. Muller. Mr. Guller or Mr. McCarthy, do you have additional testimony or documentation substantiating hardship?
Based upon the testimony here, plus I believe there's some 20 letters in the file, which I don't have in front of me, but I understand they've been submitted to the board for its consideration. The economic impact, of course, has been stated, I think, pretty well, and I respect the board's time in this matter. Just to point out is, had it been economically feasible to develop the residential property on the residential portion thereof, it would have been done years ago.
Okay, thank you. Any other board members have any questions? All right, hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits. Certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from Planning and Urban Design, 8 email letters of support, email letter of support from Alderman Brett Narayan, letter of support from Nick Funky, letter of support from Eric Nagy, a letter of support from John Kelo Flynn, attorneys at law, and a copy of permit revoked letter. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. And with that, we conclude our testimonial portion of the hearing. I thank you, Laura, for your service. And board members, do you need a 5-minute recess or shall we continue? Yes, Evan.
Oh, I'm just waving to Laura goodbye.
Oh,
Sorry.
you're just waving. No. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Okay. Hearing none, let's go straight into deliberations. Appeal number 20582, 525 Humboldt Avenue front.
I don't really have too much of a problem with this. I know the area, and it's almost a perfect fit for what he has down there.
Yep.
He's not going to have any painting or body work done down there. Like he said, those people do not bring their cars there for their trucks there to leave them for days at a time. Those guys want to get back on the road as quick as possible. And since there's not going to be any body work or painting or stuff like that, it's going to keep any wrecked trucks away from there. First I misread that. I thought he was going to do body work, which I was concerned with, wrecked trucks coming up. But with that, I mean, I don't have a problem with any of this. He's already got restrictions making sure everything stays clean and neat, on the fence line. And basically I don't think you're going to have a problem delineating who's who on that, because there's just not going to be a whole lot of people sitting around waiting for days or anything like that. So I don't have a problem. The only thing I didn't do is write down the hours of operation.
9 to 5, Monday through Saturday.
I would make a motion to approve with those hours.
I'll second you.
Wait. Do you want to include the conditions that he has on the other?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. The existing, I'll make a motion to approve the existing conditions and the hours that were stated, 9 to 5.
Okay, thanks.
Just second you.
Okay. Motion moved by Mel, seconded by George. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 All of those opposed? Motion carries. Findings?
Should not be a detriment as conditioned.
Okay. Appeal number 11941, 4101 Manchester Avenue.
Actually, kind of like that.
Yeah, I hope he builds it.
Well, do you want to give him you want to put the motion out? Then I'll second you.
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve hours of operation, 9 to 10, 7 days a week. Not to become a problem property. Needs to have a noise ordinance on there as well. He needs a commercial dumpster.
What about lighting? Can we do anything with the lighting?
We did not do anything with lighting, but we can.
Tony, Anthony, how would be the best way to word that? Not put lights, candles, or
So yeah, it would be a certain amount of foot candles beyond the perimeter.
I think there's an ordinance for it.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm looking for something.
Thank you, Evan.
Can we just make it so it's compliant with the ordinance?
I think it's the same one we use on car lots.
Parking lots, right.
What page? Yeah. Thanks. What number?
8.
Okay. There's one that says any parking area lighting to be installed, but I suppose we could change it to just any lighting to be installed shall be installed on metal or masonry poles with underground wiring and shall not exceed 22 feet in height and adjusted so that no more than 0.5 foot candles measured at grade fall on any abutting residential use premises. These improvements shall not be installed until approvals and permits are received from all appropriate city agencies.
22 feet high enough?
Well, that's a good question. Let me see the plans here. If they showcase any lighting. I would imagine they would want some lighting for if they're open till 10.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, once
they need lighting.
Once the fall gets here, I know they're going to need lighting.
So maybe do you just want to leave a lighting thing off, or what was the intent? Or you just want to not like flashing lighting or something?
Not to disturb the neighbors. That's what I don't want. It's lit up so it looks like a landing field, and the neighbors can't sleep or get any rest.
It's kind of commercially right there.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't care. That's fine. And they're going to be open till 10. It's only until 10 o'clock. So.
Well, the nuisance will take care of it if they're disturbing the neighbors.
Okay. I'm good.
To be clear, we do not have a light restriction in our nuisance ordinance, and so that's not something that that constitutes a nuisance without a condition. But
getting all technical on this, Archer.
This is why no one likes lawyers.
I mean, you could rephrase this one. I don't actually know what kind of lighting they're gonna need for this facility.
Well, if they don't have lighting, then the kids won't come at night.
You could, Mel, if you're concerned about the residential neighbors, you could just use the second part that could say it can only shine. I forgot how much the limit was on.
Okay, so it could say something like, oh, sorry, I was gonna read it, Archer, but go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
That no more than 0.5 foot candles measured at grade falls in any abutting residential use premise.
That's good.
Okay. Thanks, Archer.
Thank you.
There we go. That's the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion moved by Mona, seconded by Mel. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All of those opposed? Motion carries. Findings, Mona?
Won't be a detriment as conditioned.
Thank you. Okay, appeal number 11943, 2852 Lafayette.
Yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, Mona, that's you're familiar with the area, so
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve hours of operation Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10, Friday through Sunday, 9 to 11. They need a private dumpster. They need a sign permit. We'll put the noise ordinance on them and nuisance ordinance in, should be fun.
Okay. I'll second you.
Thank you.
Okay, motion made by Mona, seconded by George. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 All of those opposed? Motion carries. Findings? Mona?
Shouldn't be a detriment as conditioned.
Okay.
Oh,
Appeal number.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say.
Appeal number 11944, 7201 Southwest Avenue.
I'm all about the building.
I don't have a problem with that.
Neither.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Mel, seconded by Mona. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All of those opposed? Motion carries. Findings?
Should not be a detriment because they built other ones there, so they know what they're doing.
And just so you all know, at the Planning Commission a week or two ago, they're making a recommendation to reduce the minimum lot size. So in the
Yes.
future, we may not see these.
Good. Yeah, well, not.
Go forth and build, Mark. No.
All right. And finally,
I want to talk about this one, please.
appeal number 11960, 6400 Oakland Avenue.
Archer,
Go ahead, Mark.
I have a question, Archer.
Okay.
It's my understanding that a financial situation and testimony is not approvable.
So,
And that was the testimony that we heard from them.
essentially, I can look up the exact language.
Would you?
You can find a financial hardship, but I'll look up the exact language to go over the standard really quickly.
I got one other question, Archer.
Mhm.
They said there's a lawsuit going on right now. There's-
TRO.
if-
pending.
If we do anything with this at all, do we put ourselves in the middle of that or sway that, so rather than let the courts handle it and then deal with it?
No, so the lawsuit is between the two of them, and essentially it stayed so that it can get worked out whether the city is going to issue a permit or not, which is dependent on this decision. And so that's where that is, and that's I
I'm
it looks
hesitant.
from the court papers, but you won't be in the middle of that.
I didn't meddle of it, but I mean, I'm hesitant to say something until until they get their lawsuits worked out.
That lawsuit is waiting on you,
Oh,
unfortunately.
Nice try, Mel.
Kicking it down the road.
those buck stops here type things.
Now, was there any
So-
aldermen involved in this, or I didn't hear anything?
Sorry, what, George?
Was there any alderman involved? Was it alderman?
Yes, Alderman Narayan actually gave his support.
Okay.
Did we have the neighborhood too? I think, didn't they?
There's a couple
Yeah,
of
there were-
neighbor support.
Some neighborhood support, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
I have the language for when you can consider financial considerations if you're ready for that.
I'm ready.
Ready.
Yep.
Okay, that the property in question cannot yield a reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions allowed now. That the owner's, it's an old case, so plight is due to unique circumstances, and that the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality. So you're really looking at the first one, so it's about a reasonable return.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
So it's that the property in question cannot yield a reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions allowed by the regulations governing the district. So if there's anything that they could get a reasonable return based on, and a return can be financial or use based, based on the conditions of the district, then it does not constitute a hardship. But if there's no way for them to make money off the land following the rules that exist, which is the current variance with conditions, and then everything that doesn't cover in the ordinance, then you could find that was a hardship.
So just a reminder, this is in the A district, our single family dwelling district, if that helps at all.
What's the new code thing say?
Well, we won't know what the new zoning code says until something's written, but the strategic land use plan did say that it would be in keeping with the vision of the future land use of this area. So
So in keeping in that is what is being proposed.
correct. If a variance were granted, it's in keeping.
That it would.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I think I think testimony regarding this property's potential was accurate. The reality is, I'm familiar with that property, and probably every board member is. And the reality is, if it were going to be residential in all of the instances where we've had upswings, it would have potentially been developed as such. I think that it's likely only going to be developed as a commercial property, whatever that may be it this proposal or something else. But there would likely be some sort of, unless it happened after
As a chiller
the new
unit,
zoning code,
that was part of a system that I
it would require our vote. So
And it could have been purchased as a buffer too, if they were that concerned.
Right.
sure.
You can also condition
that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Evan.
just that you can also condition the patio like you've done previously for other variances granted if you so decide.
Right. So let's go back and take a
I'm not really
look
in
at.
favor of this patio. I mean, you see a business, you do your due diligence, you work your numbers, you make a decision to move forward on a purchase, and you then decide that I can make more money if I do this, with the understanding that you already know that the neighbor next door doesn't want you to build a patio, and they've put that in writing when they signed your liquor license and said, yeah, we'll give you a liquor license, but hey, we just want to reiterate, we're not in favor of you doing a patio. And we've been saying that for 40 years. And then they start that process anyway by combining the lot. And that's how they kind of got around the process, because the building inspector didn't realize there was a dual zoning at that point, because that's what that is. That's a dual zoning now, because the lot was combined, which now presents them a problem. If they no longer want to own that lot, they now would have to separate it, because it's no longer 6402. It's now part of 6400. It's not two parcels anymore. It's now one parcel. 6402 no longer exists. And why would they build right up to the property line and start digging a hole? I mean, you have to build off of the property line. You can't build right up on the property line next to somebody like that. I mean, they're just kicking themselves in the kneecap when they do something like that. I mean, good neighbor, they're not being a good neighbor when they build right on the property line.
So actually, Mona, the drawings show that they're in fact 4 feet off of.
Are they?
Yes. So their landscape walls are 4 feet off of the property line. So
I'm
really,
struggling to tell that. I apologize.
yeah. So really, they're 4 feet off of the property line. Now, I will say that this is a tough one, because I've experienced neighbors who were not in support of projects that I was building next to them.
Mhm.
And I understand. I definitely understand their plight. I personally, I would be leaning towards approving this with a condition that the terraces are no more than 10 feet from the property line.
And no live music outdoors.
Say that again.
No live music outdoor.
I would be more like no music outdoors.
You can have pipe music, but you can keep it low. You know what I'm saying? And stop it at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think I would likely do something
They can
similar
always
to
come
what
back
we.
later and ask for music. You could restrict this better. and see how good of a neighbor they're gonna be.
If you're gonna have so many people there, let's say 100 people,
It's gonna be loud. I
that's
mean, it's a
loud.
lot of people.
Yeah, you got to have some kind of
You get a bunch of drunks out there, good God.
right. That's the problem.
It is. I don't want to live next to that. I don't want to live next to that. It's going to eliminate their ability to rent those units.
Unless you say the patio has to be closed by 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Mel. I think something we've done previously is one, identify a time that they close the patio. Two, we can put a decibel limit on the music.
The problem we've had before, Anthony, is we have a hard time enforcing a decibel limit.
Sure, I understand.
So I'd say close it by 10 o'clock.
If you want to be on the safe side, just close it earlier. Let's close it at 7 o'clock or something.
That's dinner time, though, George.
Yeah, I don't think that works, because if people come for dinner, they're not going to be. I think that.
And most people aren't going to bed before 10 o'clock anyway, so close it by 10. It has to be closed by 10 o'clock. That gives them the patio, lets them see if it's going to be a good neighbor. And if they want to extend the hours, maybe they can show that they have been a good neighbor and that they're not trying to do anything. Let them come back then.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
No, I think 10 o'clock is the latest you could ever have it open.
I'm just saying, start with that. Let them see. I'm just saying they can come back later on to try.
No, I think 10's too late. I mean, 10 on the weekend at the latest. Man, you got a neighbor that's been there for 40 years.
So 10 o'clock.
So I agree with you, Mona. I think if this were single family residential, I would view it a little. I would definitely view it
Because
differently.
tenants aren't as important.
Oh no, I'm not saying I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that a single family residence, proximity wise, is going to be closer than a multi-unit building. That's what I'm saying. Not that there's a difference in the people. It's just the way the building's designed.
Right.
For single family versus multifamily.
Versus 243 people out there.
Yeah, no question that there will be some amount of noise, which is why I think one, we increase the buffer size, and two, we limit the hours of operation on the patio.
How big is that wall that they're building? 36 inches with the metal fence.
24 inches high is what they are showing.
That's not very high.
Yeah, so
that's something you
know,
step over.
Obviously,
that's not gonna block any noise.
No, it does not. It looks like it's strictly for the terracing. If that's something you feel comfortable adding,
if they put a brick wall up there, that would help block the noise that the tenants would be experiencing. That would be more of a buffer on that side.
If you do the 10-foot buffer, that's quite a bit of space for landscaping. I mean, those buildings are tall next door. I don't know that.
I'm just thinking about what they do in Soulard. They build brick walls.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put landscaping in front of that. If they, if they want more landscaping, that's a aesthetic thing. Landscaping doesn't block noise.
True. I am open to suggestions. I
My
was just
architect,
offering.
I'm just throwing out options. I'm the one here that I don't like it at all. I'm trying to be
Yeah.
cooperative.
So I mean, again, I would start with and instead of 4 feet, it being 10 feet, limiting the hours of operation. And Mona, if you want to add to that, that there is a buffer, of some sort of masonry buffer there. We could put that in a motion. I don't know. I maybe that buffer needs to be. I'm just throwing something out, but 5 feet above the finished grade line.
Like along the highway, those buffers along the.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are very high buffers.
Yeah, see, 5 feet. I mean, I'm 5 foot.
Right. It had
taller than me.
it had to be, to be, at least, like I said, I think 10 feet. I mean, in order to make it feasible to stop the noise, and I think that you should keep the dog on. If you're going to keep the hours, let them be to 8 o'clock. They should be able to make it to 8 o'clock, and that's their ordinance, and they can just say, "Come back inside" or whatever.
Well, George, the problem being is 8 o'clock, you're usually serving dinner. So most of the time you're going to be full inside. You're not going to have any place for those people to come. If you give them to at least 9 or 10, 9 o'clock, they've got that choice where a lot of restaurants, if you've seen yourself by 9 o'clock, most restaurants are clearing out. But 8 o'clock, I think it'd be way too early. I think you'd be in the middle of everything trying to get them to come back inside and not have any place to go.
Yeah, I think that would just set them up for failure. They'd be back before the board because of a nuisance, because they couldn't get people out.
I think
I mean,
9
the
o'clock
reality
is a fair compromise then. Because if I got somebody next door who's got kids, those kids are going to bed.
Yeah, but those are small apartments. I don't think that they have any children in
I
them.
don't know. I've not been in those apartments.
So how about 9 o'clock? Monday, Sunday through Thursday,
and 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock on Friday and Saturday.
I can go.
I can live with that. George?
I can live. Yeah, I can live with anything that makes it reasonable for the people on the other side. That's my concern. Just making it reasonable for.
Me too.
Yep. And then after and after we say we're kicking the can down the road, and the lawsuit can go wherever it has to go, but at least we'll have something established that would give another person an opportunity, to live like noise free.
You're making the motion, George, or
So it's 9 and 10, and then we're going to do 10 feet off of the property line
right
at the patio.
Is that all 3 terraces you're saying?
Yes.
That would be any
Okay.
any part of the patio could not come within a 10-foot encroachment of the property line.
Sure.
And that's a 10-foot masonry.
Or some kind of structure would, it could be something.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't want it to be a privacy fence. That thing is not going to hold up.
Okay.
I think it needs to be a masonry.
Masonry, sure. I go masonry.
And is that the length of the parcel or just around the patio or?
The length of the patio.
The patio.
Yeah.
Now, who's actually making that motion?
It's a combined motion between Mona and I.
I don't think it works that way.
You can make it, George, or you can make it.
I'll take the weight.
All right,
I'll make
I'll
the
let
motion.
you take the weight, George. And then, are we gonna have the nuisance on there
Definitely. Definitely.
and the noise on there?
This
Definitely.
part of the nuisance, Mona.
What about are we allowing any music on there?
I think if we're doing, honestly, I think if we're going to require a 10-foot wall, we go ahead and give them music.
Okay.
Okay.
At a certain decibel.
Just being reasonable and stuff.
Fine.
Yeah.
George, it's almost impossible to enforce the decibel thing. Evan said before.
Right.
It's hard for me to go out.
So are we allowing music or are we allowing live music? There's a difference. George, this is your motion.
Music, regular music, not live.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
Just want to be clear about it.
Okay.
In the motion. Okay.
So you're saying no live music as one of the conditions?
Yes.
Can they make an exception for St. Patrick's Day?
There are exceptions.
No.
I don't know that there's an exception, although I know that's like
We're not, this is just the motion. You know what? If they want to come down and get a special permit or something, that's on them.
Yeah. Agreed.
And it's no live music on the patio, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
God, I don't want to hear any of that Irish music. I don't like it much. No.
That's your motion, George?
Okay, so
that's my motion.
Time, hours, everything? Okay.
I don't think
Why
I
don't you
got
get
the how late, 9 or 10 p.m. patio.
So Sunday through Thursday to 9 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 10 p.m.
Okay.
All right, Evan, but we want you to read it back so we know that we got it right on our end, please,
Yeah,
sir.
that sounds good. The patio shall be set back 10 feet from the property line, the side yard. The patio's hours will be limited from Sunday through Thursday. Must be closed by 9 p.m. Friday and Saturday must be closed by 10 p.m. There must be installed a masonry wall 10 feet high, the length of the patio. Shall not be issued a nuisance letter. Shall adhere to the noise ordinance, and no live music on the patio.
Yes.
Like trash receptacle stuff or?
Definitely trash receptacles.
Yeah.
As needed.
You're reading my mind, Evan.
And they can have music, Kevin. Just speakers, not live.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so no live music on the patios. But sound system is okay, or
Just leave it as no live music and they can figure it out.
Okay. All right, that's all I got. Any other?
I think we covered it. We covered everybody's base.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think they want us to say anything else.
That's my motion.
I'll second that motion. Thank you, George.
You're welcome.
All right. That long, tedious motion was made by George, seconded by Mona. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 All of those opposed? Motion carries. Findings, George?
Hopefully not a detriment.
As conditioned.
As conditioned.
There we go. Okay. Meeting minutes.
They were given to Joe, although Joe wasn't able to make it, so we won't have meeting minutes today to approve. We'll have to
Okay.
catch those
So
next
we'll
week.
pick those. Okay. For week after next.
We do have a meeting next week.
We do?
Yeah, but you're
Yes,
getting
it's a
married and
little
stuff, so we can get a new chairman for next week.
Say that again.
Oh, aren't you getting married and stuff this week?
I am getting married in 1, 2, 3. Oh, good grief! In 3
3
days.
days. That's the countdown.
Congratulations.
Oh yeah, I do have a meeting. I'm not going anywhere for my honeymoon, so I'll be here on the 2nd.
He still wants to be here.
Congratulations.
Anything I can say?
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, with everything going, I'm sitting here and I got contractors all throughout my house getting it ready or trying to get it ready for my reception. And it's a mess over here. And yeah, so I'm going to try and help them out. Let's see. Any new business? And thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no
Thanks.
business. Meeting next week.
Okay.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second you.
All right. Made by Mel, seconded by George. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 See y'all next week.
Opposed?
Bye.
Okay.
See you guys.
Bye.
Hey, y'all. Thank you.